One popular question that has been asked in the Builderius community a few times is, can we have direct integration with ACPT? That is, can we use ACPT custom post types and meta box fields within Builderius? And we will try to answer that question in today's video. So let's jump right in. To get started, we need the right resources. So head over to my website, daveden.co.uk, and then check under the resources section. I'll list all the resources that I recommend, and the list will be updated regularly, including coupons. So the one you need is Builderius as the page builder. Then we'll be using ACPT as the custom fields plugin. And we also need a hosting platform. So we'll be using Cloudways as the hosting platform. Right now, Cloudways is offering a 30% off for 4 months using the coupon code TREAT25. And Cloudways is a very powerful managed hosting platform. It gives you tons of features, and you get 3 days for free to start with so that you can get acquainted with Cloudways and know that, okay, is it for me or is it not for me? There are 2 options you can go with. You can either choose the Cloudways Flexible or the Autonomous. The Autonomous is like you're giving them full control to manage the hosting, whereas the Flexible is half and half. So they manage some parts of your website, and then you manage other parts in terms of like the backend, not the actual website itself. So you can choose between the 2. So if you use my link, it is an affiliate link. So just go ahead and say, get Cloudways, and the coupon will be added automatically. I'll try my best to always keep the coupons updated so that you don't have to stress yourself. My website is being updated at the moment. So you can just go ahead and fill in all of your details, and then the coupon has been added. Then you can go ahead and agree and start. Once you've gone ahead to register, you can now go into the Cloudways dashboard, which is under unified.cloudways.com. And the first thing you need to do is create a server. So we'll go under the My Servers. There is none at the moment, so you now choose Launch Now. Then you choose what type of application. One nice thing about Cloudways is that it is not only for WordPress. You can host multiple things there. So you can create a WordPress server, which is the optimized WordPress, or if you want no Cloudways optimization, you can choose the other option. I would recommend you go for the optimized version because everything will be optimized. Your PHP version, you'll have Breeze and other kind of caching solutions and optimization solutions. So go for the optimized WordPress. If you want to use WooCommerce, you can choose the WooCommerce optimized version. You can go with a regular PHP website and build your entire PHP site from scratch. Use Laravel, Magento, and so on. So multiple options you can use, but let's just go ahead and choose the optimized WordPress. Then I'll give it a name, something like Builderius ACPT. The server name will be Daveden. Then you can choose a project. Then you can choose between the Lightning and the hybrid stack. Let's just go with the Lightning stack. Cloudways gives you a ton of flexibility so that you can get the best out of your hosting, and then you get the most powerful website as possible. We're going to go with DigitalOcean, but you can choose Router, Linode, AWS, or Google Cloud. In this case, I'm just going to go with DigitalOcean. Then you also have other choices. Do you want basic, you want general purpose, or CPU optimized? Let's just go with basic. And for the sake of this tutorial, I don't really need a ton of resources, so I'll just go with the base version that says for staging. You can choose to go as high as possible depending on how much traffic you're getting and how powerful your website is. So for like e-commerce websites, I would recommend you go higher. But for like a basic one-pager or a demo site like we're doing today, you can just go for a 1 gig resource, and it tells you exactly everything at the bottom. So you know exactly what you're getting. I recommend choosing a location closer to where your user base is. In my case, my user base is in the UK, so it's closer to London. We'll choose London, and we can choose to launch now. And you can also add other add-ons. We're just going to keep it simple, so I'll say skip for now. And you can go ahead and recommend. And then the server will be added in about 7 minutes. Now the server has been added. The next thing we need to do is go over to applications. And you can see the newly created application. I'll go ahead and click on it to open, which will take us to the access details. Then you can just go ahead and use the login, the username, and the password. I've already gone ahead and set up a few things just so that we can speed up the process. So now let's jump into the WordPress backend. So here we are in the WordPress backend. I've gone ahead and installed a few plugins, which include the ACPT Custom Fields plugin. We have Breeze, which comes with Cloudways, Builderius, Builderius Pro. I've added Command UI to help me speed up the process of moving around the backend. Then we have the Object Cache Pro, WP Codebox, and Yabe Web Font. Those ones are not really needed. The main things that we need here are Builderius and ACPT. The first question we'll answer today is, can we create a custom post type and custom taxonomy using ACPT and create a single post template for that custom post type using Builderius? Let's check it out. So I'll head over to ACPT and then custom post types. Then I'll register a new post type, which I'll call tools. Then the singular name will be tool. The plural name will be tools. Basically, we're going to create something similar to what I have on my own website, where we have a list of tools. So I'm just going to create a custom post type for my tools. The next thing we need to do is choose an icon. I'll just use the link icon. I don't think we need any excerpt or editor. We'll use mostly the custom fields. Then I'll go to next step. I think we already have the label set up properly, so I'll go to the next step. And I think everything should be good, so save. And we have the post type created called tools. Next thing I'll do is I'll go ahead and also create a taxonomy. Register a new taxonomy. Maybe I'll just call it tool type. Then tool type. Tool types for the plural name. Go to the next step, and make it hierarchical. I think every other thing is in order. Go ahead and save it. Then finally, we need to associate the taxonomy with the custom post type. So I'll choose associate and check the tools custom post type. And that's it. We're done with the first step. So now let me go ahead and create my first tool. So it'll be under tools. And then I can create a new tool. And the first one will be called Cloudways. The type of tool is that it is a hosting company. So add a new type called hosting and publish. So we've created a dummy post. Let's go ahead and see if we can create a template for it in Builderius. So I'll go over to Builderius and then templates. And I'll create a new template. Ideally, you want to have templates for the entire website first, which is like the index.php template. Then you have one for all pages, then one for your single front page, and so on. But we'll just ignore all of that. The one we're focusing on today is for our custom posts. So you search for custom posts. Then you go over to the advanced settings. Then you give the template a title. So tools, single. The template location is custom posts. Then we'll add a condition. And the condition is simple. We want to say if the post type is equal to tools. As you can see, the tools is appearing, which means that the registered custom post is being registered in Builderius. So now that we have it set up, let's go ahead and save and open. Okay. We've created our template. Now let's see if the template is actually pulling in the right data. As you can see from the top right-hand corner, the preview is showing the Cloudways tool. So that's a good indication that it is working. Then the next thing I'll do is just add in a section element. Within the container, I'll add a heading just to show that the post title is pulling in the right data. I'll go ahead and delete the initial heading. Click on a dynamic tag and search for title. So post title. As you can see, it is pulling in the correct data, which is our Cloudways post. So let me go ahead and save it. So that's the first question has been answered. Yes, we can retrieve the post type easily using Builderius. The next thing to explore is if we can display the list of terms, because from the beginning, we created the taxonomy called the tool type, which for Cloudways, we said it is hosting. So now how can we return that name within Builderius? So what we need to do is first I'll go ahead and just add in something like a paragraph. I'll delete the initial content. That should show our term. Then I'll go down to the bottom panel where it says dynamic data, and I'll create a new dynamic data variable. Maybe I'll give it the name ACPT. Then I'm trying to return the list of terms from the current post. So I'll search for post. First, I need the ID of the current post. Then I need to query the terms for the current post. So I'll just search for term. You can see terms query. Don't worry if you don't really understand some of these things. I did a previous video where I talked about the different things you can do, but we're just trying to get the list of terms from the current post. So the arguments that come with the terms query are two major arguments. The first one is what is the taxonomy? And in this case, it's called tool-type. Now put a comma. And then the other argument is, okay, so where do you want to restrict it to? We want to restrict it to the current object, which is the current post. So I'll search for object, that is object IDs. It could be an array or a single number. So I'm just going to reference my post ID. First, I'll do double quotation marks and then double curly brackets. And since we're already in post, we just want to access the ID. So I'll put ID. Then this is for the arguments. Now, what do we want to return? So what we want to return is, I'll press Ctrl I to see what we can return. We want to return a list of terms. So I'll search for terms. And then within the list of terms, the main thing we need is just the title. So I'll look for name. So let's go ahead and get data and see if we're getting the right data. You can see it is returning our terms as an array of the names, which is just hosting. Then I'm just going to perform a bit of transformation to convert it from an array to a comma-separated string. I did that in a previous video, which I'll link to in the description, talking about expressions and how you can modify data. So what I'll do is, I'll come back to my terms query and I'll do some modification. First, I'll give it a name. Instead of terms query, I'll just call it something like tool_type, colon. So I've given it a new name. Then, just after the list of parameters, that is after the regular brackets, I'll go ahead and I'll put a directive called the @transform. Then open regular brackets again. And within those brackets, I'll look for expression. So I'm trying to convert first the list of objects. I just want to return the name hosting rather than name colon hosting. So what I'll do is I'll then say tool_type, because I'm referencing the object again. And within that tool type, I'm trying to get the terms. So I'll put dot terms. Okay, so let's say get data. I'm now returning just an array of my objects. The next thing I'll do is a bit of plucking. So I'll now write pluck, put the variable name, and then at the end, before the quotation mark, I'll close the regular bracket, put a comma. And what am I trying to pluck? I'm trying to pluck out the name. So I want to return the array as comma-separated array of just the names like hosting, or if there's any other one, like maybe the tool type is a template or a theme, or maybe an accounting tool, or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is now put in quotes name. And the other function we'll now do is called the join function. And then I'll put another comma. And this time, I'm trying to join with the comma-separated values, get data. And now you see the tool type just returns hosting rather than an array or anything like that. So I can come back, close my dynamic data, and replace the term with what we're getting from our ACPT, which is the tool type. And you can see hosting. So it is pulling the data correctly. hopefully there will be like a simple snippet that we can just copy and paste, because Builderius are building up a list of snippets. So I'm hoping that when they watch this video, they'll be able to create a snippet so that we can easily do all of this without having to write it from scratch. Okay, so I'll go ahead and save. The next thing we need to test out is if we can pull in the custom fields, because right now we've tested out the post type and the taxonomy. But what of custom fields? Can we also pull in custom fields into the Builderius editor? Let's go ahead and find out. So back on our WordPress dashboard, head over to ACPT and then field group. I'll create a new field group, give it a name called Tools Fields, then give it a location. So add condition. The condition is that the post type is equal to our tools. Next, let's add some meta boxes. I'll click on add meta box. I'll give the meta box a title, tools meta. Then I'll add some fields. The first field will be maybe our affiliate link, and that should be a URL field. Then the second one is maybe want to display a list of features. So I'll say features, and that should be maybe a repeater field. Then within the repeater, the main thing I just need is maybe item as the label, and it should just be a regular text field. That should be fine. Then we'll add another field, and maybe the last one will be like description. We can also do something like pros and cons and things like that, but let's just use description, and that should be a text area field. I believe this covers most of the kind of fields that we would need. So let's go ahead and see how we'll access them in Builderius by first populating our Cloudways Custom Post. The label for the affiliate link will be called Get Cloudways, and the URL will be https://davetens.link/Cloudways. Then within the features repeater, then add a new feature, say it is super fast. And another feature, Cloudways is very reliable, and so on. Just keep adding some nice features. And then for the description, I'll say the best managed web hosting platform for WordPress and e-commerce. Okay, so we have that. Then I can go ahead and update. You may want to also add a featured image and so on. That doesn't really matter now. So now that we have our Cloudways post, we'll go back to our templates. So under Builderius templates, let me go back into the tools single template and see if we can access those fields within Builderius. Maybe within the container, add a paragraph. If we try to access any of those fields, like the features, you'll see that there's nothing. If we try to access something like description, there is nothing. So at the moment, the fields don't get registered within Builderius, but thankfully, we have two simple functions we can use. The first function is called get ACPT field, and that will return a single field for us. So whenever we want to return a single field, we can use get ACPT field. So what we just need to do is use the function name and apply this array of attributes. So let's go back. We'll head over to the dynamic data panel. Within the same ACPT, I can just continue so that everything will be under ACPT. So the first one was called post. So the second one now would be, let me try and return the description first. So description, colon, and I'll use that function name. To apply a PHP function, we have a special function called PHP function output. Then we just pass in the parameters like what is the name of the function. It is called get_ACPT_field. I'll put the comma. The next thing we want to get is the arguments. And like I said, within ACPT, it is an array of key value objects. So I will have to use curly brackets, and then I'll pass in all of the different options that they gave us. So the first one was post_ID, post_ID, colon, comma. I'll populate them later. The next one is the box_name, colon, comma. And then the final thing is the field_name, colon. So that's done. Then now let's go ahead and start populating. So first we'll start with a static data to make sure that it is working. So I'll head over to something like my Cloudways post. So I'll say Cloudways. Let me go ahead and copy the ID. Thankfully, with Command UI, you can just quickly copy ID of your post without having to go into the post. So I've copied my ID. I can now come back and paste that ID of the post. Then the box name, I believe we called it, let's go over to ACPT and the field groups. Edit it. The box name is the meta box name, which is called tools-meta. That is a string, so I'll put in quotes. Okay. Then the final thing is the field name itself. And the field we're trying to access is the affiliate link. So let's go ahead and copy and put it in quotes, affiliate_link. And I think that is all we need to do. Let's now go ahead and say get data. And you can see it's returning the value for us. So we get description, it is returning an object. And the main things we need are the URL and the label. We can now apply this field within Builderius. So let's go ahead and close the dynamic data panel. And within our new paragraph, I can just search for my description. And it is returning label and URL. So I can put the label first. We get our label. Oh, this is supposed to be a link. So let's convert the HTML tag to an A tag. And now we get the URL field. I can now use the dynamic tag and search for my description. And this time is the URL. So now we get our get Cloudways and we have the link populated properly. So that's if we want to get a single value. Okay, this is all fine and good, but we are using static post ID for now. So how do we make it dynamic? We can go back and reference the ID of the current post again. So we just say, instead of the static number, I can put in quotes and double curly brackets. I want to reference post ID. So that is post.id. If I do get data, it is still getting the correct data. So everything works. So this is all fine and good, but this is when you need a single field. It is quite stressful if you have to keep going in and then adding a new field for the next one and the next one. That's a lot of work. What if you want to add all of the fields that are related to that single post at once? Thankfully, with ACPT, there is another function we can use called the get ACPT fields. And all you have to do is pass in the post ID as usual, as well as the name of the box. The get ACPT fields has an S after it. And there are other extra parameters that we can add. So let's go ahead and test it out. After my description, I'll go to the next line and we can go ahead and now use the next function and say maybe fields, colon, because I'm trying to get all of my fields. And the function is PHP function output. The function name is get_ACPT_fields with an S. And then the arguments, it's an array. So I'll put the curly brackets. The first thing we need is the post_ID and the box_name. So the post ID is the same as previously. So we just copy and paste. And the box name is the same as well. Paste. Make sure I got the quotation marks. We can go ahead and get data. You see, we're getting all of our fields. So we have the URL field, we have the repeater field, and we have our description field. But at the moment, it's just returning everything at once without any key value pair. So if you want to make it have a key value pair so that we can easily access it in Builderius, we have an extra parameter called the ASSOC parameter, which requires a boolean of true or false. So let me copy it and go back. So after the box name, I'll put the comma and then write ASSOC colon true. Because it's a boolean, we don't need to put the quotation marks. And I'll do get data. And now each one of them is returning with appropriate key value pairs. So it is easy to access within Builderius. So let's say we want to get the affiliate link. So I can go back. So it's the same thing. We had one from the initial one that's called description, but this time I'm trying to get the affiliate link from the get ACPT fields. Let's try that. It's called tools-meta_affiliate-link. So let's see if that works. I'll search for affiliate. I have the tools-meta affiliate link. Let's look for the URL. And we're getting it. So it works. For some of them, it might not work right out of the box because of how MetaBox uses dashes for their keys, and Builderius generally doesn't like dashes. So let's see if it works. So the next one is description. Let's go ahead and add another paragraph. So I'll go to my container, add a paragraph, and we'll search for the description. And it returns this none. And I believe that's because of the dash. So let's try and convert the dot into square brackets. So I'll remove the dot, open the square bracket, and at the end, I'll close the square bracket. And I believe it should work now. Let me just put the tools description in quotes. And as you can see, the value is returned properly. So I think Builderius just has a little issue when it comes to the dots, when you have dashes as well. So just bear in mind. I did a video previously, which I'll link to in the description, talking about there are two ways you can get the nested data in Builderius, either using dots or using square brackets. So you can switch to square brackets and that should work. So let me go ahead and save it and preview on the front end. And the information is being pulled in correctly. The final thing we want to do is the repeater field. So for the repeater field, it is an array. That means it's returning multiple values. So for that, we use the collection element. So I'll go to the container again, add a collection element, and within the data source of the collection, choose the dynamic tag, and I'll search for the features. We've gotten the data. Then within the template, I'll add a paragraph text, and I just want to return all of my features. And we can see the features are array item. So let's see why it's saying array item. So we have the features, and each feature is returning an object called item. So I think it might be a bug, but let's go ahead and see. Dynamic tag, array item. It is not returning the right item, so let's look for it ourselves. Item. I suspect it's the same problem. We have to convert the dot to square brackets. So under the ACPT fields from our collection, replace the dot with a square bracket and close the square bracket. And now you see it is returning the values properly. I can put the index dot and see the values are returned properly. And we add the index to start from number 1. So yeah, that's how it works. So I think with Builderius and ACPT, what we just need to know is that we need to convert the dot into square brackets, and then they will pull in successfully. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, do leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to get Cloudways using the affiliate link and the coupon. You get some discounts and you'll be able to get one of the best hosting. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you want me to talk about next? Until next time, keep designing and be happy.